This video is part of our course on PySide6 for widgets, which is on Udemy. The course goes from the absolute beginning, showing you how you can take advantage of Qt widgets using the Python API under the PySide6 or Qt for Python umbrella. And it covers things you really need on a daily basis: signals and slots, a bunch of widgets you can use. We show you how to use Qt Designer. At the end, we also show you how to work with networks and the model view architecture. If you are interested, be sure to check the link in the description below. In this lecture, we want you to be excited. We are going to show you some of the cool applications you get to build as you go through the course here, and that's going to be a lot. You will start by testing your Qt and PySide installation, and you will run a widgets application like this. This is going to be your basic window in which you can put things. For example, we have a widget or a window. Inside this window here, you see we have the standard buttons to minimize, to close, and this is really a simple window application in which we have a button which is going to do nothing, but this is going to be a good foundation on top of which we can build even more complicated things. We will learn about signals and slots, and this is a way to respond to things that happen in your application. For example, if you look at the slider I have on my screen here, this is a little slider application we will be building. If we move this thing, you see that we have data in our terminal window here, and we are getting this data in response to us moving this slider here. This is going to give you a foundation on which you can build to respond to things. For example, you can respond when a button is clicked. You can respond when your file finishes downloading from the internet. We can do all kinds of crazy things with the concept of signals and slots in Qt, and you will learn the fundamentals of that in this course here. You will learn about the QMainWindow class, which we have to be able to build user interfaces that have things like toolbars, status bars, central widgets, menus, and toolbars, and things like that. And that's going to be really cool. You can see that this can allow us to even build things like Visual Studio Code. You see we have a file menu here. We can do something like this in Qt, and that's going to be really easy. You see we have an edit menu, a window menu. We can click to quit the application from the toolbar. We can start the application again and quit it from the file menu. And all these things are going to be given to you through the QMainWindow class that we will learn about in the course here. We will get a chance to learn about message boxes, and these are little windows you can pop up to show information on your screen. For example, you can pop up something like this. There are different kinds of message boxes, and we will get a chance to learn about all these in the course here. You can see that when the user presses OK, we are able to get that in our application, and we can respond to that in this application here, and this is really cool. Let's go to information and click cancel. You see that we know that. You will learn how to build applications like this. We will learn how to use labels and line edits, and a label is something that allows you to put some text in your user interface. A line edit is something that allows a user to type something on your user interface, and you will be able to get this information and use it in your application, just like you see in our terminal window here. This is going to be really cool. We will learn about size policies and stretches, and this is a concept that allows us to control how our widgets are going to respond when our user interface grows or shrinks. We will build this application here to practice working with the grid layout. This is a layout that allows you to lay out your components in a grid. For example, here you see we have a 3x3 grid, and we can use row spans and column spans to make things take up more than one row or column. You're going to see how this works in detail. We will have a chance to learn about QList widget, which is a widget allowing you to set up lists in your user interfaces, and users will have the ability to interact with your list. For example, we can click on 1 here, we can see things changing in the terminal. We can click on 3, we can see things happening in the terminal. We will have the ability to add new things. We will have the ability to remove things. You can see things are going away. We can get the count of things. You will learn how to do all these things here. We will get a chance to learn about QTab widget, which is a widget that allows you to set up different sub-widgets in your own widget. For example, we can show information here, which is going to contain this label and this line edit. But if we want, we can go to another sub-window, which is going to contain a bunch of buttons. We will learn how to do this using Qt, which is pretty cool. After we have the basics of Qt widgets laid down, we will learn how to use Qt Designer, which is a piece of software that is going to allow you to build graphical user interfaces by dragging and dropping components. For example, you can drag buttons and put them on the form. We will see how to do this kind of thing and import this user interface to be used in Python, and that's going to be really cool. In the chapter on Designer, we will also have a chance to learn about how to work with resources and images and things like that. And we will end up with an application which looks really practical. This is something like Notepad that you can build in Qt. You can type something here. The sky is blue. And you can, for example, select and copy. Once you copy, you can paste. You see that we can paste. If we want, we can cut things out. We can cut them out. We can either do that from the toolbar or we can use the menus here. So if we go to edit and paste, you see that the data is going to come back. We can do all kinds of crazy things. We can quit the application. We can bring it back. And at this point, this is going to really give you a good understanding of how to use Qt to build good graphical user interfaces. After that, we will learn about dialogs. And these are temporary windows you can pop up to let users do things in your application. For example, we can pop up another dialog here, which is going to let the user provide information. They can give me their position and favorite operating systems. And if they click OK, I am going to grab that information and use it in my application here. For example, they can say they are farmers and that they like Linux, for example. And if they click OK, I will know that information and I will display that information in my window here. But the dialog is the secondary window that pops up when I click on this provide info button here. And we will learn about the connections we need to do to make the button respond when we click in this course here. That's the signal and slot mechanism we have in Qt. What I want you to see about this application here is that you get to decide how your dialog is going to look and which components are going to be in your dialog. And you may need to do that in your career as a Qt developer, and you will learn the fundamentals needed to do that in the course here. After that, we will get a chance to learn about a bunch of dialogs. One of the most interesting ones is the color dialog, which you can use to select a color. For example, if we choose orange for our text color, you see that we can change the text here, but we can also change the background color. Let's make it white, for example. That's not going to hurt. We also have a Q font dialog we can use to let the user choose fonts in their application. If we click on the button, we will have a window like this. And for example, we can make our text bold. Let's make it bold and bring our font size to 48, for example. If we do that, we will see that this is going to change. And you will learn how to do that in this course here. We will also have a chance to learn about Q settings, which is a way we have to store and load our settings. For example, if I click on load colors here, you see that I am going to get colors in my user interface. These are colors that I have saved previously when I run this application. And this is something you might want to do. For example, if you have some user settings, you might want to reload those settings when the user starts the application again. And Q settings is a perfect way to do that if you are already using Qt to build your user interfaces. So the way this works, for example, we can click on the one button and change the color. Okay, we can change on two and save the color to a blue. If we close the application, take care to look at the colors we will be getting back. If we close the application and run it again and load the colors, you see that the colors that we set are lost because we didn't save them. But if we change this again, let's use this color again for one and use a blue sky color on the second button. And if we save colors, okay, click on save colors, close the application, run it again and load the colors, you see the colors are saved because we saved them in our settings, and you will learn how to do this kind of thing in this course here. We will also learn about manipulating files and directories using Qt. So we will have facilities to create directories, list folder contents, and all kinds of crazy things. And as we progress in the course, we will have a chance to learn about the Qt network facilities. And on that occasion, we will build a JSON API client, which is going to be downloading data from the internet. For example, if we click on fetch, this is going to download data from some JSON API, and this is going to list these things from that API. This is something you can do in your Qt applications. And this is going to give you the basics of how you work with Q Network Access Manager and how to do basic manipulations in JSON in your Qt applications using Python, of course. We also have a huge chapter on the model view architecture of Qt, and this is a way to separate from the way you store the data from the way you display the data. For example, here we have a view, which is a table view really, which we will get a chance to build in the course. And this is just visualizing data that is living in a list that we model in our application here, in the model that we have running in our custom model here. So our data is going to be coming from here. It is going to be visualized by the table view that we set up in our application. This is going to allow us to do all kinds of crazy things. This is a really cool model in that it allows you to even modify data, and the changes are going to be saved back in memory. For example, if we change the color here to blue, you see the model is going to pick that up, and the view is going to refetch the new data and show that to you. And at this point, I don't really expect you to understand the model view architecture of Qt. It is a slightly complex topic in Qt, but we covered that in a step-by-step manner to allow you to really understand this and use this to your advantage in your Qt applications. We will close the chapter by looking at packaging, which is a way to package your application in a way that you can send the folder to somebody and they will be able to run your application. For example, here we have a binary you can click on. This is going to run our model view application, and your users will just be able to double click on something and the application is going to run. And this is where you get to eat the fruit of your hard work. You have built your application, you can send it to somebody across the planet and they will be able to run it and take advantage of it. These are some of the cool applications you get to build as you go through the course here, but there are even more because I can't list them all here. But I hope this achieved the goal of getting you excited about what you will be able to do by the time you are done with the course here. I am going to stop here in this lecture. In the next one, I am going to cover the subject of how you can get the most out of the course here. Go ahead and finish up here and meet me there.